Hello there, and welcome into a new installment of the Career Competitor Podcast with me, Steve Mellor. And as always, we're brought to you by CG Sports Network, and we are the show that seeks to light the competitive fire within you in order to succeed within your career. I am bringing you yet another competitive call, and this is an exercise, if you will, that I'm really starting to embrace and enjoy, mainly because it's forcing me as a host of this show to truly analyze the content that I'm discussing with my guests and also push me to become just a much more well-rounded, let's say, expert. I will use that word with a little bit of caution, but an expert in the field of competitiveness. I do want to have credibility in this show, and I think that these competitive calls are going a long way to justify the intent that I have to put this show at a level where we can start to provide true competitive insight at a truly excellent level. Today, I'm going to present a concept called competitive rejuvenation, which I thought up off the back of my most recent interview with Johnny Bornstein, the U.S. national soccer player, who went through about a 3-year stint within his life where he was really struggling in terms of just finding consistent success within his career, despite having hit some very early highs and experienced some fantastic opportunities within the U.S. national team. He suddenly found himself in a moment where he just didn't like who he was. He didn't like the way he ate, the way he used his time, the fact that he couldn't really find a meaningful relationship, let's say, with just about anybody in his life either. And I think this really forced me to analyze within too. I've been in a very similar situation too. And what it got me thinking was that, looking in hindsight at Johnny's career the last 6 or 7 years, he's able to now sort of present that through this self-growth, through this willingness to work on himself, he was able to find sustained success in a way that he was now experiencing this daily excitement, this bout of energy each and every day towards his career, not just because he was being successful, but mainly because he was so comfortable and happy with the life he was living and the person he was. And that organic system within him was able to produce the energy required to literally rejuvenate every single day within his career. And it just, the more he spoke, the more this concept really started to come to the forefront of my mind. And again, going back to myself, I look at times in my life and I thought, being as competitive as I am, being as motivated, being as driven as I am, surely success will just come. And I got to this point where I found momentum, this competitive momentum within my life was just slowing down, just about coming to a stop. And the more it slowed down, the more I wanted to fight it, the more I wanted to push against it. And it wasn't until it literally came to a stop, and I actually personally went to some form of a rock bottom on a personal level, on a professional level, talking about 9 or 10 years ago now. And I look at myself in that time and realize that, thank God, I took the moment to start figuring me out again, reestablishing who I was as a person. And that was a whole new 3-4 year process in itself, which brought me to a point in my life where I was happy and where I was comfortable with who I was. And lo and behold, once I established that, well, relationships came my way and opportunities came my way. And in terms of the competitive drive that I've had now for the last 5 or 6 years, I don't even think about it. It's just there. Each and every day, I'm just recharged, ready to go. And I look at the system, and I like this term system for myself. I look at this system that I've built within me, and I say, okay, this system will continually perform probably for the rest of my life, system, as long as I'm willing to continually keep an eye on it, make sure that it's getting what it needs, making sure it's not being unattended to. It will continue to thrive. It will continue to perform as long As long as I'm just a little conscious each and every day that I'm giving it the time and giving it the attention it deserves. And lo and behold, like I said, rejuvenation comes through my competitive spirit each and every day because of this willingness to work on me. Remember, rejuvenation is an external. It is an output. It is not something that is necessarily felt, even though it is used in that way so much. You go away on vacation, you come back, I'm rejuvenated, I'm ready to go. Okay, but I challenge that. Because in terms of the definition, it's bringing energy to something. It's an output. It's something that is seen. So when we talk about how we feel, I think rejuvenation is just an inaccurate word. Of course it can be used, but I just challenge the fact that it shouldn't necessarily be used in that context. Because if we do think of it as this output, then we start to think about, okay, where does the catalyst come from? What's going to spark this rejuvenation? And why does it have to always arrive occasionally when we've either gone through something and come out the other side of it, or we've had time to recharge and reset? Why is it not daily? And again, this is where the term really came from through my conversation with Johnny, through a lot of just self-reflection on myself. And I started to realize that it's really realistic to actually expect a rejuvenated approach to your competitive journey each and every day if you are investing enough time in yourself. And again, the pessimist listening to this, and there may be some of you out there, just say, well, Johnny or myself, they would have eventually gotten an opportunity somewhere that would have brought happiness. But it's wrong to assume that the opportunity will bring happiness. Because if we establish happiness, opportunities will just arrive. They'll just present themselves. And I know there's so many of you listening to this that agree. I know there's so many of you that have worked that job and had that lifestyle and been going down that journey, that road towards a version of you that you didn't necessarily like. And you knew that the more you went down that road, it would just create situations and environments for yourself that would just add to this sort of self-loathing, if you will. Deep down, I believe our minds, our body, our souls, they are the greatest tool in the journey to a competitive career. And if I personally had the ability to either nurture that tool or just ignore it and keep on going with some sort of process, assuming that, hey, I'm being competitive, I'm being driven, success is going to come, then I know which one I would prefer. I know I would much rather be nurturing this tool that is myself, this system within me that I can just keep updating and keep providing the energy and the resources to, and the attention. Make sure that it's going to continually produce and perform and stay in a state of mind that is going to allow for just being satisfied, being happy with who I am. So allow your competitive rejuvenation to influence your career growth, but understand it will only do so by investing in the growth of you. Hopefully this competitive call speaks to you. If it does, please reach out. Let me know. I'd love to hear from you. You can go direct to the website, careercompetitor.com. There's a link there that you can actually contact me directly. I would just love to hear from you. Also, feel free to rate the episode, rate the show on Apple Podcasts. Make sure you're also subscribed there, or you're following us on whatever platform that you do listen to your podcast on. Give career_competitor a follow on Instagram as well. And connect with me on LinkedIn. I always put some sort of a summary of these episodes out on LinkedIn. And I would love just to hear your feedback and your thoughts through that as well. So best of luck with everything you've got going on. Have a great week, whatever you're doing. And I look forward to speaking with you all again very soon. Bye for now.